Hello, my name is Abdulmati Asiri and I'd like to welcome in another Boeing 737 video tutorial. In this video, I'd like to talk about the reverser use on the landing roll. And the first point that I want to mention is that the reversers can be deployed when either radio altimeter is indicating 10 feet. So technically, they can be deployed in the air, which is a little bit dangerous in my opinion. So for new pilots, just make sure that the airplane have landed. I suggest that you wait until you see or hear the speed brake has been deployed, and then you deploy the reversers. And the way to deploy the reversers, of course, so you leave your hand on the thrust, speed brake deployed, go slide to the thrust reversers and go to the gate or the idle detent, and then as per the FCAM you should apply slight pressure until they open, and then as needed. Uh, it might take you some time until you develop that sense for feeling the gates opening. So what I suggest for new pilots to do is, now let's assume that the airplane touchdown, speed brake is up, and I slide my hand to the reversers, I go to the gate. Now instead of me trying to open up the reversers, take a deep breath, and by that time the sleeves would have been deployed and they are in the position, and then you can go to max reverse. Now when I say max reverse, that is detent 2 in my opinion, because detent 2 is when you deploy the reversers all the way to the end, but then if you apply some pressure, there is a detent that you can cross, which is detent 2, and you can go to max reverse. Now max reverse is not recommended in the FCTM unless you really need to. So the FCAM says to go to either reverse without delay, and after that say as needed. So technically you don't have to deploy the reversers unless you want to, but as per the procedure you don't have to. Now, for the 60 knots call by the pilot monitoring, it is an indication for the pilot flying that you need to start reducing the reversers to either reverse, and you need to be at either reverse by taxi speed. So let's assume I went to I deployed the reversers, I took a deep breath, and then I went to max reverse, and then the pilot monitoring called 60 knots. I start slowly moving the reversers to the idle detent, and then you should stop at the idle detent until the engine stabilizes, and then you quickly close the reversers. Now if you hesitate in that point, so you go slow from max reverse to idle, let the engine stabilize, but from idle to close you need to go quick. If you hesitate, you might trigger a master caution engine, and if you look in the aft overhead, you will see the reversal light, caution light illuminated. And again, as mentioned in the FCAM systems description, one way to get rid of it is by recycling the reverser. So we'll go to either reverse, give it some time to deploy, and then quickly close it, and that should take care of the master caution. If the master caution persists, then it might be a maintenance issue. There is some discussion about the wet runway and crosswind landing with the reversers and brakes, and I suggest you go over that point in the FCTM, which basically says that with the reverser more than idle, if you are landing on a wet runway with a crosswind, the airplane, you might have some problem controlling the directional, might have some problem losing directional control over the airplane. So they suggest to go back to either reverse and reduce the braking until you gain control back over the airplane, but keep in mind that you might need a longer runway for that. So in the approach briefing, as a pilot flying, take some time to decide whether you'll go to either reverse or full reverse or reverse to detent 2 before landing. That is depending on the runway, how long is it, how's the weather, do you have a headwind or a tailwind, and then how long or short the runway is. And at least have an initial plan, and Once you touch down, of course you can't change the plan, but at least you have something in mind. And one thing I see new pilots do as well is they go for reverse and then they see, oh, that's just too much, I don't need it, and they go immediately back to idle reverse, which I advise against it. If you go beyond idle detent, just give the engine some time to stabilize at that, and then try at around 60 knots to start reducing back to idle reverse, but don't go to for reverse and then say, oh no, I don't need it, and immediately go to idle reverse again. The last point that I want to talk about is the recommended cooling time for the engines, which is the 3 minutes. If the pilot flying use only idle reverse, then you can start the stopwatch immediately for the 3 minutes. For me personally, the 3 minutes should start once the engines are in ground idle. So in the approach, you have approach idle. After touchdown, with the thrust at idle, you'll see N1 reducing below 30% N1, I believe. I'm not sure, but I think it goes below 30% N1 for ground idle. At that time, I start my stopwatch. Even if you go to idle reverse, the N1 will not change. However, if you go past the idle reverse, then N1 will increase, and then you need to wait for the pilot flying to go back to idle reverse, wait for N1 to go below 30% or around 30%, and then start the stopwatch. So those are all the points that I wanted to mention about the reversers. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. I really do appreciate those who have left some comments here on the channel, or sent me emails, or contacted me through LinkedIn. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. And as usual, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Until next time, this is Abdul Mati Asiri. Wish you safe flying and smooth landing. Thank you for watching.